welcome to the 2018 NGK F1 Powerboat season. The NGK F1 Championship is in its second year and raring to go. And it all starts here in Port Neches Riverfest, which this year celebrates its 17th year of great powerboat racing. If you're new to the sport, it's packed with adrenaline, thrills and spills, with races reaching over 120 miles an hour on the water head-to-head in competition. Let's take a look back now at how it all played out in 2017.
Here we go, green flag in Gulfport.
Looks like Rob Rinker's going to bring it home. Trouble on the course on the front straightaway. Oh, Dustin Terry way on the inside. Tracy Hawkins comes over. He's got to shut it down. There's Aaron running fourth place.
The big news that kicks off the 2018 season is that Terry Rinker has retired from the sport after a sensational, brilliant career at the top, but his legacy will be continued by his son Ashton. But Ashton knows he has a legacy to live up to with his brother and his father stepping away from the limelight. It's up to him to keep the Rinker name at the top of the leader table.
He's done everything he can in racing. He's accomplished a lot. It really bums me out that he's not here, him and my brother. But, you know, I'm going to keep the Rinker dynasty going and keep the Rinker name up front.
But Ashton Rinker isn't the only name trying to make his own mark on the sport. There's a host of hungry rookies, both in F1 and the Light Series, as well as seasoned pros, out to put a new name on the coveted trophy.
Our goal is to take away the reigning name of Rinker and put the Hawkins name up there. We'd love to win the championship.
The Rinkers aren't here this year, so the two of them are gone. We have Ashton here this year, so they beat us last year, so we hope to come out on top.
The whole goal was just to get the championship, so we knew what we needed to have. Everybody else here has one weapon, we've got two of them, so we think that's going to give us a clear advantage over everyone else.
The six-round championship takes us right across America, starting down south in Texas at the Neches Riverfest, then on to Florida to Gulfport before heading to Nashville, Tennessee. We then head north to Pittsburgh in the summer sun of August, and that's followed a week later by Springfield, Ohio. It all rounds out in Texas again for the big finale in Orange in September, where a new champion will be crowned. All that to come over the season ahead, but after a long winter off and a whole lot of preparation, it's time to show what you've got at the Riverfest on the Neches as we kick off the 2018 season. Stay with us as the action is about to get underway.
NGK F1 Powerboat Championship on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by TireRack.com, revolutionizing tire buying since 1979. By Motor Trend On Demand. Visit MotorTrendOnDemand.com. Start your free trial today. And by NGK Spark Plugs, the ignition specialists.
As the teams prepare for round one, the intensity and pressure is on from the get-go. The points are available in each of the heats, leading up to the final worth 150 points to the winner. So in order to stay ahead, each driver needs to be competitive every time he's on the water. After the first two heats of the day, Ashton Rinker and Wesley Cheatham are leading the way as we head now to Heat 3 with your commentators, Tim Seabold and Ralph Shaheen.
Ready to go now for the start of heat number 3, and Tim, getting a good jump off the dock is so important.
It sure is. You got to stay in your lanes to the commitment buoy going to the first turn, air the boat out, and get it to accelerate.
There's the green commitment buoy on the right side of the screen. And now we're headed down towards the next corner, which is much wider at the opposite end of the race course.
It is. Turns 3 and 4 is a wide sweeping corner with a little straightaway in between it, and Dustin Terry got a flying start.
Terry, the racer out of Louisiana. We got a variety of engines that we're utilizing here. Terry running a Mercury.
Dustin runs a 2.5 liter carbureted motor, and they come off the beach better, so you can just see how that boat accelerates off the pins and coming off the start.
Spinning it around the next buoy and headed back to the other end of the course. Everybody trying to choose their own lane here. You can't run right behind the guy in front of you.
You can't. With the spray coming off the back of the boats, you've got to be a lane out to either side, which really makes a difference when you're coming into the corners.
That was a good look at Wesley Cheatham in that number 4. The racer out of Trinity, Texas. There he is in the orange and white boat.
With Greg Foster right on his hip.
You have to be careful. Oh, and Foster gets that boat up in the air.
Oh, he fell in a hole, and I know he'd like to say that he brought that back down, but once they get that high, that's all luck coming in.
Looks like Foster's day is done. Getting the tow back to the dock. We'll have a restart of this race, and off we go again.
Wesley gets a great jump on Spencer Love off the dock, and he is gone.
Cheatham taking advantage of the restart, and he's going to try to check out now.
He sure is. Poor Dustin Terry took the blunt of that blow on the restart. He broke a prop and had to go to the end of the line.
Spencer Love in the number 24 out of Santa Rosa Valley, California, trying to chase down our race leader, Wesley Cheatham, in the Trinity Excavators, number 4.
You know, this is Wesley's kind of course right here. Smooth water, he can air the boat out, he runs a smaller gear case, and you can just really see how the boat accelerates extremely quick.
Just one more lap to go for Cheatham, and he's going to be in a great position as we head to the final coming up.
You know, if you're able to win one of the 3 heat races coming into the final, gives you a big boost in your starting position.
Cheatham around the final buoys and headed to the checkered flag here in Texas.
Spencer Love right on his heels, though, coming in right behind him.
Wesley Cheatham will take the win in heat number 3 and puts himself in a great position for the checkered flag and the big trophy at the end of the day. Let's hear now from Greg Foster as to what went wrong with his boat.
I was getting ready to try to pass Cheatham, and I ended up barrel rolling, or at least putting it up on the side and killing the motor, and so never got it started, and then the boat started sinking.
Well, that damage ends Greg Foster's day, but he'll be back, and after the break, we'll take a look at all the best action from the other classes involved in the Port Neches Riverfest of 2018. Welcome back to Port Neches, Texas. It's round 1 of the 2018 NGK F1 Powerboat Championship. Feeding into the main series are 3 feeder classes of boats, and the competition is just as tight as they all want to progress to F1, with 3 rookies moving up this year alone. Formula 1 powerboats are the kings of the sport. 17 feet long and 7 feet wide, 250 horsepower engines going 0 to 100 miles an hour in just 5 seconds, with a top speed of over 120 miles an hour, with the drivers pulling as much as 7G in 180-degree turns. So these truly are aquatic fighter pilots. Formula Lights are 12-foot tunnel boats with a twin-cylinder Johnson or Evinrude engine, looking a lot like an F1 boat, just slightly smaller, but still capable of over 70 miles an hour flat out. The tri-hull boats are more of a classic-style speedboat, with an added roll cage to protect the driver strapped in with a 5-point harness as they clash hulls and chop each other's lines at over 50 miles an hour. J Hydros are the beginning class, and these nimble 40-mile-an-hour knee riders give 9 to 16-year-olds a chance to cut their teeth and develop their racecraft before progressing to the bigger classes. Let's take a look now at the support classes as they shake out on the water here in Port Neches.
The Formula Light category is one step below the Premier Division. And there was some great racing in this class, Tim.
There sure was. 5 rookies in this class, but the veterans came through with Jeremiah Mayo winning his first Formula Lights race.
On to the tri-hole category, and these boats look more familiar to what you might see on your average lake or river.
They sure are. These are based off of the 1970s tri-hull. You can see Jeremiah Mayo, who won the event in number 8, Chris Rinker in the 52. They just bang, they single pin turns.
And get a little wild too. 17-year-old Jeremiah Mayo wins both Formula Light and tri-hull.
Now let's head back to F1 as Wesley Cheatham gets ready to start from pole for the first event of the season.
Got to get off the dock. Hopefully we don't have any restarts and keep Ashton and Johnny Fleming, he's going to be third. So I'm going to have to keep them behind me and keep it clean and hopefully everything works out. That's what we're hoping for.
And after the break, we'll unleash them into the first final of the 2018 season.
NGK F1 Powerboat Championship on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by TireRack.com, revolutionizing tire buying since 1979. By Motor Trend On Demand. Visit MotorTrendOnDemand.com. Start your free trial today. And by NGK Spark Plugs, the ignition specialists.
Welcome back to Port Neches, Texas for the 17th running of this famous Riverfest as we head to the final with your commentary team once again of Tim Seabold and Ralph Shaheen.
Taking a look at our starting grid, Wesley Cheatham, boy, he looks like the guy to beat coming into the main.
Sure does. When he's on pole, he's tough to beat.
And we're going to have perfect conditions for today's final event.
Sure are. These guys, they're going to blow a 1-minute gun. When they do, they come down to 20 seconds. And there they go.
Oh, Cheatham gets a terrible start, though, in the 4. Keep an eye now on Ashton Rinker. He's going to get the whole shot.
Tracy Hawkins comes from the outside and gets a straighter run at the first turn and able to get ahead of all of them.
That's Hawkins in the number 2 out of Texas. He got a tremendous start, used that outside lane, and now Cheatham in the 4 and everybody else giving chase. Here comes Rinker with a good run up the outside.
Looks like he's got a little more top end than Wesley does.
Cheatham's going to hold to the inside of that buoy. How can he take that inside lane and make it work for that number 4?
Wesley is all about acceleration, so the shortest way around the course is buoy to buoy, and that's how he drives.
On board with Cheatham, he's got to stay out of that white foamy part of the water. You start getting in there, that boat's not going to handle right.
You get on that whitewash in the corners, it's going to upset the boat, turn it sideways, it'll slide, catch, and go over.
Hard to believe these boats can actually slide, but they can. Hawkins, Rinker, Cheatham, that's your top 3, and they're going to be getting into lap traffic here pretty soon.
You can see as they come off the corner, they want to pack as much air underneath the boat as possible by trimming the engine out, changing the angle between the engine and the boat. It lifts it up, gets as much air underneath it as it can, and as it starts picking up speed, they've got to trim it down to level the boat off so it doesn't flip over backwards. They get to the corner, they trim it down, wet more of the boat surface, and they can make those 7G turns.
Here's Hawkins. You can see down into the hole, the cockpit. It's a very Spartan cockpit. Outside of that trim, there's not a whole lot that the driver has to deal with inside as we go on board with Ashton Rinker.
You've got the trim, you've got the foot pedal for the gas, and that's all there is. No brakes, and the course changes every single lap.
Oh, contact here as we fight for 4th. That's Spencer Love in the 24 and David McMurray in the 57.
He did, and you're going to see the effects of a composite boat hitting a wood boat. The composite wins every time.
McMurray in the gold and black 57, that's the wood boat. Love in the all black 24 is the composite. Now on board with Dustin Terry. Boy, he's fighting that wheel.
Sure does. These have a tremendous amount of torque, so we still use cable steering on them with an electric power steering unit to help on the torque.
You can see those cables running down both sides of the hulls of these boats.
And the reason we do that is because you have to have the feedback coming back from the engine to feel how the boat's handling.
There you saw Hawkins, who continues to lead over Rinker and Cheatham.
Lap traffic really is going to help Rinker in this situation.
Oh, that's John Eddy spinning it around.
Wow, right in front of Spencer Love. That was close.
He's going to loop it around and head back up the river. They actually sweep the course to make sure there's no debris underneath the water that could impact these boats while they're racing too.
These propellers are razor sharp, so a pencil in the water can damage the propeller, and something bigger can damage the boats.
Jeff Reno is in the 34. This is not for position. Reno actually getting lapped here as Wesley comes up the inside.
Tracy Hawkins working his way back up through the field. You know, he's tried for 15 years to win this race. It may be his day.
There's a Tuttle Enterprises back number 2. Pivoting around that buoy. Really tough on the racers as they come around those buoys.
Well, pulling up to 7 Gs in the corners really takes a toll on your body after 30 or 40 laps.
As we head down to turns 3 and 4, boy, it looks like Rinker, who finished 3rd in this championship last year, starting to close in on our leader. Yes, here he comes. Here's Dustin Terry, giving us this onboard view from 5th position.
And Johnny Fleming right on his tail. You can see how he has to cut through his rooster tail because you can't go directly behind each other.
Fleming out of Woodlands, Texas.
Tracy's cruising out front. He got past the lap traffic, so nobody will be there to hold him up now.
His best finish last year at 3rd in Springfield, Ohio. Boy, what a great way it would be to kick off 2018 if he can hold off Ashton Rinker.
Sure would. And you know, Ashton's pushing it for everything it's got. He's got that thing sitting right on its tail, and that's how they run the best.
Sweeping out over the field as they head down towards turns 1 and 2. There goes Rinker. Still trying to catch Hawkins. Looks like the gap is just a couple of seconds between our top 2.
The first 2 really have pulled away a little bit from Wesley in 3rd place.
There's the gap. The leader just to the left. And Rinker giving chase from 2nd place, and he is certainly closing in.
Ashton's been running well all weekend, very consistent.
Hawkins, solid, all the way back down to turn 1. The white flag is out. Just one more lap to go. Who's going to get the first win of the 2018 campaign?
White flag comes out. Now you're starting to hear things that you didn't hear a couple laps earlier as you start to get to the finish.
Hawkins back up the front straightaway to the checkered flag, and Tracy Hawkins will win round number 1 of the 2018 NGK F1 Powerboat Championship.
Wow, congratulations to the Tuttle team. They've worked very hard, and it's great to see them on top. Ashton Rinker 2nd place, hard fought all weekend. Wesley Cheatham in 3rd.
He's going to come by and get that checkered flag and take a victory lap.
Little celebration. Well, hopefully he doesn't celebrate too much and stress the motor for the next race.
There's our 2nd place finisher, Ashton Rinker. He's going to be happy with a good points day. And now the celebration is on for Tracy Hawkins. He's going to do a few donuts here. Here's a quick look at how they finish. Hawkins, Rinker, and Cheatham will take the top 3 spots. Jeff Reno coming across the line back in 7th. And Ruben Stafford will be happy with an 8th place finish in a brand new boat. Let's go down now and hear from our winner.
I had no idea we were going to get a start like we did. We were hoping to. And when they dropped the flag, when I got to the corner, it was, I looked around and I said, here we go. It's been a long time, never won this race. Been racing here for numerous years. It's a great feeling.
A brilliant race for Tracy Hawkins, who's been trying to win this one for over 15 years and finally does it in style here in 2018. But with the combination of the heats and the final tally, it's the Rinker name that remains on top of the standings, with Ashton Rinker now with 270 points heading to the next round at Gulfport, Florida.
Wide to the outside on a 4.
This has been a production by Greenlight Television of the NGK F1 Powerboat Series. For CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports.